Devilman is so fucking awesome. Like seriously, I feel like I'm one of the only few people in the world who either knows what or who Devilman is. It's such an underrated gem and it's so good. Well, maybe not the original TV series, but I mean, it's made by Go Nagai and everyone knows who that guy is. Right? Really? No one's seen Cutie Honey? Manzinga Z, he's also the first guy to ever put a actual pilot in a mech before. He's one of the guys that, like, he's pretty much credited the super robot genre in general. Alright, if you haven't actually seen Go Nagai stuff, then let me just tell you that he does some amazing goddamn stuff. And one of them being itself is the manga Devilman. A very dark, grim, foreboding tale about the morals of humanity itself and also as well the twisted desire of demons. Being also as well published in the Weekly Shonen magazine. Yes, you heard me correctly, in the Weekly Shonen magazine. And yes, one of the series that I always talk about, Fairy Tail. This was in the same magazine as Devilman. And I think showing some of these pictures of Devilman, you can see that the two had two different contrasts to each other. But one thing you didn't know is that Devilman was one of the biggest inspirations on Berserk. Yes, the Berserk that everyone knows as being near masterpiece. Today we pray for the greatest manga of all time, Berserk. May Guts and all his enemies rest in a pile of mangled bones and torn up flesh. Amen. So I think you guys know that, yeah, maybe Devilman might be the legit shit. But we're not just going to be talking about Devilman now, are we? We're going to be talking about Cyborg 009 versus Devilman movie that just came out. Just split up into 3 parts, I guess you could kind of say. Also 3 episodes, but it kind of makes up a movie's length. Now, only hearing a little bit about Cyborg 009 as my time as an anime fan, I've only heard slightly few little bits here about Cyborg 009 as I've actually begun reviewing anime. I knew a little bit about him, and I was kind of very curious to see if this movie exactly could actually get me really interested in the movie. I was thinking, yeah, let's have this cool cyborg guy versus against Devilman. This would be the coolest thing. Unfortunately, what I thought was going to be the span of like sharing both between Akira's story and also as well as 009's story, it's more like 85% Cyborg 009 story, 15% of Devilman's story. One thing we can get straight into this is like, oh my god, the animation looks amazing. Oh my god, the first 10 minutes or so that you see with the contrast of Cyborg 009's kind of more kind of wacky, kind of like serious tone like that, and then you get the dark, grim stuff of Devilman. It was perfect. Then after that, then it just kind of melds into its own movie where basically 009 and Devilman kind of get caught up in between, thinking that they're both, this is some new kind of cyborg, and then also as well Devilman thinking this is some kind of new demon that they have that with like metal technology. You do get to see both like the characters coming in from both series. Like you do get to see the other 00 models from all the other cyborgs, and in Devilman you do get to see Miki, you get to see Leo, you do get to see a bunch of characters come back. One of mine, especially being thing, is the actual turtle with the human faces on it, Jindomen. Obviously, he was only from the start. Now, the dub, which I watched it in, was superb. I really did like it. I did like that Johnny Yon Bosch was actually 009. Even though I don't know too much about the character, I think he actually did the character very well. Albeit with some cheesy lines in there, like, mixed into it. But I think that's more because of the source material and not exactly the character itself. And Bryce Packbrook as Akira and Bryce Packbrook as Akira, which you people might know him for as being Eren Yeager in Attack on Titan, Rin Okamura from Blue Exorcist, Shura Emiya from the new Fate Stay Night series, and of course Kirito from Sword Art Online. I didn't actually have a problem with Akira, mainly because I'm more expecting kind of like a badass voice coming out of him, but definitely when he does transform into Devilman, that all changed and he does sound like a badass. I'm like, yeah, let's go, let's go, let's go. The whole crux of the movie is a villain comes from the Cyborg 009 verse, being like Black Ghost or Black Babel, I believe the name of the villains were called. Pretty much on one side, the 009s, they had this high, intense, like high-end cyborgs, which are now like higher and better versions of them. Whilst on the other side with Devilman, they actually did create a demon fused as well with a cyborg, which kind of became the main villain kind of really last minute. You're not going to be blown away by any of the villains here, nor are you going to be like, whoa, oh my god, these characters, like, you know, they had such deep development. I mean, you're just seeing Devilman and 009 having a feud and a punch, which is the first real half of the episode, and then it kind of gets forgotten and then they team up at the end. I've not really seen too many kind of versus movies and all that, but I'm pretty sure even in the terrible Batman v Superman movie, most of it, when it was Batman v Superman, it was kind of actually mostly focused on Batman v Superman. But either way, you can watch both the dub and the sub. They're both perfectly fine, and I did enjoy a little bit of what I heard of the sub, but also as well, watching it in dub, I was surprised at how decent it was. Definitely does show off exactly what both characters can do, like with their strengths and their weaknesses, but kind of also as well you can see why these two characters can slightly relate and why these two were even put together in the first place. Now yeah, 009 may be half cyborg, but he's also still human, and the same thing goes to Devilman as well, as he may be having a demon inside of him, like the past Amon. Even still, he still does a human heart, and he does want to do what he does right for justice. I did like the little finale of them kind of like tag teaming the villain at the end. I really did enjoy that part. That was kind of badass, actually. It just ends though with them just going, yeah, bye, and kind of go back to things, which I do appreciate a lot of that. It seems like it hints at both series finale, especially with Devilman's one. I did kind of like it, so it takes in between of both series, like, because you do get to see the start movie is, I'm taking a big arc in what 009 is, and then also as well seeing a very extremely dark, depressing moment in Devilman. Yes, in the end of the day, I did want to see a little bit more of Devilman. Personally, I really wish that Devilman, if not would have a movie, if that he would have a trilogy movie set to himself, or maybe another bunch of OVAs, because Devilman is so awesome and he's so underrated, and I hope that if this is the thing that pushes people to see more Devilman series, if it was like this movie that just came out, or if there were anything else, then I would love that. One of the best things though at the end is the ending clips itself, because it shows panels of the manga from both retrospective series, and I love just going back and seeing some of those panels of Devilman and the 009, although very dated, you can say for both series, did they look really great, mashing them up together, and I had a blast. Fortunately though, this movie, you can watch it and say like, I haven't had a life-changing experience, or like, oh man, that movie was amazing. I think it's a 6, in my personal opinion. I think it's a fine, it's okay. I think like definitely both Devilman and maybe 009 could have had a bit more justice in this movie. I thought there could have been maybe a little bit more of an element going into it. The things kind of felt like attached, and it was just kind of like put in there like out of nowhere, like this the high-end Cyborg kind of gets a little bit friendly with Miki, but that never really goes anywhere, or the whole relationship with her brother. Things just didn't get into explain, just expects you to kind of interpret it and say, yeah, I understand their feelings, but other than that, it didn't offend me saying this butchered Devilman. In fact, I hope this actually brings in more Devilman fans, and I hope that they do read the manga, and also as well, some of the other Gona guys' work that are heavily underrated. What's saying next? Maybe can we have like Manzinga Z versus Gundam? Is that the next one we can have? Please, please, please. That's all I want from there, but other than that, this is really a movie review. I wasn't expecting actually to, like, I found it out at random that it was out, and I just decided to watch it, and I was like, I need to, let me have my Devilman moment. Let me talk about Devilman, because it's so awesome. But that's all for me. So if I then, in fact, intrigued you on this, then I would heavily recommend it, because it definitely has got me intrigued in seeing 009, but don't expect like this great phenomenal, like it doesn't really does the dark elements of Devilman too well at all. It kind of like, it feels more like a 009 movie than it does Devilman, but I'm hoping for like this movie that it actually does like amaze some people and saying, oh, I really need to check Devilman out. All I'm saying though, if you are going to see like Devilman at all, prepare yourself. It is a very dark, gory series, and I cannot recommend it to anyone that is under 18. It really is messed up. I did have a little bit of fun watching this last night, but there was some really cool moments, but definitely its high points are definitely the animation. I've got to say, Devilman did look awesome when he was tearing like these new demons, like a new hole, and like going in. And yeah, like from what they saw of like the 009 and like all his powers and all that, I actually was kind of intrigued and wanted to see a little bit more about their origin stories and see like what exactly is with them. So I think it did well on that part, but it wasn't anything too special where I'd say like I have to recommend this to people away. All I can just say is I want people to see the Devilman manga, and that's all it is to it. So from me, so I've been Savagezweipanda. If I have intrigued you at all in this video, then how about a little like or a subscribe down below. That's all from me, so thank you much for watching as always, and remember, I'll see you guys next time.